So hey guys, welcome to another vlog of sorts. This morning I really thought I had an idea what I wanted to talk about here, and then after the day's worth of work I just went through, I thought maybe I would talk about that. But you know what, I don't want to give any more time or thought or consideration to the shitty ass day that I had at work, and I'm not going to let the terrorists win and let it get me down anymore. So anyway, usually as soon as I get out of that place and get home, most of that crap just slides away anyways. I'm just not in the mood to give it any more time. So I'm going to talk about what I was wanting to do a video on. Not only this morning was I thinking about it, but the last couple of days. And I'd be really curious to see what anybody has to say about this. Thoughts, anything you can do to enlighten me on this. This is probably another one of those always showing his age kind of topics. But it's been on my mind here recently. Just why are TV shows done in such untraditional ways or non-traditional ways than what they used to be done? Excuse me. And what I'm mainly referring to here is pretty much all of my favorite TV shows, and I started that series a while back and I haven't continued on, but I'm going to, so you'll know more of the TV shows I'm referring to. But most, if not all, of the TV shows that I hold so high as being the best shows that I've ever seen have 20 plus episode seasons. And yet nowadays there are so many TV shows that usually run 6 to 10 to 12, maybe push to 14 or 16 episodes in a season. And then that's it. The season's done. Now, I don't know that I'll have my thoughts collected as well right now that I'm doing this, as I did earlier today. But I understand some of the reasons for this stuff. And the biggest one would be most of the TV shows that I'm referring to that have shorter seasons are things like Game of Thrones, True Blood, The Walking Dead, Spartacus, all these different shows that are either on premium channels like HBO or Showtime, or cable channels like AMC, or shows like, say, House of Cards, Hemlock Grove, these shows that are being done, Orange is the New Black, shows that are being done through like Netflix and services online. And here's why I suspect those channels do their shows like that, and regular broadcast networks do shows and have done shows over the years that are usually several more episodes. It comes down to money, which everything comes down to money. It's all about money. But if you're on a network that's free over the air, those shows, those networks, they all depend on ad revenue. They all depend on advertisers paying the network so that they will air their advertisements there, and the money that the advertisers pay in, I guess, is what funds the show and what keeps the networks going and all that kind of stuff. You have a TV show that's going to go roughly from sometime in September till sometime in May, maybe with some sort of a break around Christmas time. But otherwise, it's almost regular, an episode every week, 3 or 4 weeks out of each month. You're going to end up in the end with 24, 26 episodes. Sometimes a little less, sometimes more. I know that some of the old shows back in the 60s and 70s sometimes even went like 30 plus episodes in a season. But I grew up watching shows that typically, once I guess it's probably about the time that I moved out on my own in the 90s, and I started to want to buy a TV show, and they'd be on VHS and later on DVD. You'd be like, oh, how many episodes are on here? Oh, 24, that's awesome. That's a lot of stuff to watch. I'm going to eat it all up. I'm going to love it. because they had to, fill up that TV station or TV season, the traditional, at least in the U.S., season from September to May. And a lot of episodes means a lot of money has to go into the show, and so a lot of advertising and whatnot, and it's kind of a circle that works together. And then the season is over with, you have the summer break, and that gives the people who make the shows some time in the summer to start filming episodes for the next season. I'm probably not telling anybody stuff that they don't already know or understand about TV shows. But where things have changed was, as I said before, your online avenues, your premium channels, your cable channels, where there's money already coming in. Because you have to pay for cable, you have to pay even extra for the premium channels, you have to be paying for Netflix in order to use the service. So the money's already coming in from the user. So those places can put these shows together with the money they already have. Most of them aren't having to deal with advertising. You don't get commercials for products on premium channels. So they can put money into it already instead of having to rely on the advertisers. The advertisers are kind of phased out of it. So they must think that with the money they already have, and they don't need advertisers, so they don't have to sustain this long season, they can cut out what would be called filler episodes and cut these seasons down to 6, 10, 12, 16 or whatever, and fully load them with content. I'm trying to think of a good TV show that would come to mind. X-Files is one that I think of because the X-Files had the mythology episodes, and then they had the Monster of the Week episodes, and they probably looked at Monster of the Week episodes as filler. We can tell our story with our mythology episodes, but when we have to just come up with an episode, a Monster of the Week style episode, this is what sustains us through the entire season and gives us time for the advertisers to advertise their products that they pay us to let them advertise during, because it's their money that keeps us afloat. When you don't have the advertisers, I think some of these people just feel like, well, who needs the throwaway episodes? Who needs that filler shit when you could just go heavy, balls to the walls on content? Now, I'm not privy to a lot of shows like True Blood and Game of Thrones and stuff. I've never seen any of them. I'm just imagining that that's what they do. I imagine that every episode is very pertinent to the story they're trying to tell, and there's not a lot of filler. There's got to be a reason why some of these shows go so short in seasons. Now, I have The Walking Dead on Blu-ray. I have the first 2 seasons of the Spartacus show that was on Starz. And they were shorter series. Like, they didn't have as many episodes. Like 10 episodes piece on the Spartacus thing. Well, 10 on the first season, if I remember right, and like 6 on the prequel season. The Walking Dead had a shorter first season. Now, I understand that sometimes if it came in like as a mid-season type thing or whatever, they may have only done a few so that they could test the waters to see how well it was going to be. Well, of course, we all know The Walking Dead is like, people just go crazy for The Walking Dead. So each season has had a few more episodes in it. But I want to watch Game of Thrones. I want to watch True Blood. I want to watch some of the shows that are on those networks like HBO and Showtime. But I know that they're all like shorter seasons. And it's just made me wonder. It's like, why? I have... Let's see if I can find it here. Okay. This is the newest season of Star Trek Next Generation, Season 6, on Blu-ray. Got it in a week or two ago, whenever it came out. This has... I don't even know if it's going to say anywhere here on the back without me popping it open. But it's going to be quite a few episodes. Over 20, I know that. I know that much for sure. And I'm going to love this when I finally get to sit down and watch this, as I have the 5 previous seasons. Like, not total binge watching, but it might take me a couple of weeks. I might have a day where I watch 2 or 3 episodes, a bunch of days where I watch 1, and then, there'll be some days where I don't get a chance to watch anything. But that's a lot of episodes, and I love it. I love every episode. I love every bit of that. X-Files, all the seasons are, I think maybe the lowest are 18 to 20, but I think most of its 9 seasons were over 20 episodes. Lost is a good example, although later on in Lost, because of the writer's strike, it shortened some of the seasons, but they still had a lot. I can't use Firefly as an example because they only had 14 episodes total, but I'm sure they would have went with full episode or full seasons of episodes had it continued on. And all of this, as good as these shows like Game of Thrones could be, True Blood, Breaking Bad. I mean, I know Breaking Bad is over. I'm getting ready to jump into that. I have the first season of it. I want to watch more. I'm starting to do Netflix now. So I want to watch that, but I don't want to just be like, 10 episodes and then the season's over. I'm conditioned for this. Give me 22, 24, 26 episodes of just nonstop. Because I don't... Filler episodes, to some people, filler episodes are like garbage. Like, they don't care. They might watch that episode once and then they're like, no, I'm never going to watch it again. No, if I love a show, I watch every single episode, even if there's some that I don't like. But I would never want a TV show to cut 10 or 12 episodes out of its run just because they might not be as good as some of the others. So, anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. I wish that this trend now of premium channel shows, online shows, even summer TV shows, even though a lot of summer ones, if they're successful, they move them to the regular season. But there are some shows now that just air in the summer, and 3 months of summer means you're only going to get 10 or 12 episodes out of a show. And then you got to wait 9 months for it to come back. Hell, I could even make this complaint about things like Aqua Teen Hunger Force and other shows from Adult Swim where they'll have 10 or 20 episodes, but they're really short, and they'll air them over like a month or two in the middle of the year, and then there won't be any new episodes of those until that next year. I don't want to wait all that time. Goddamn, it was hard enough to wait during the summer to come back to things like Star Trek and X-Files for those couple of months during the summer, and now they want to make people wait 6, 8, 10 months between stuff like that. It's crap. Man, if you're doing this stuff on Netflix and online and all that, you should be making that stuff left and right. I don't care if it kills the show off early, but then again, nobody wants to kill off a show early. They want to have the show last as long as possible. Both the people who make the show and the networks who air them, they're going to want the show to be on there as long as possible so they can get their money's worth out of it. I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me that you have all these critically acclaimed shows that everybody loves, and they'll go 10 episodes and then the season will be over. And yet they still charge $30, $40, $50 for DVD and Blu-ray seasons for 10 episodes. So, I don't want to get myself started on the wrong foot when I jump into Netflix and start trying to watch some of these shows, but I really hate the fact that there's so few episodes of these shows. As I've said a million times now, I'm sure. I think you've got the message on what I was meaning to say here, so I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to go over here, watch some YouTube, and then sometime tonight I'm going to play the last episode of The Wolf Among Us, and then I'll probably come back and do another vlog about my thoughts on that entire first season of Wolf Among Us if they decide to do some more. So, I'll see you later.